Good afternoon, everyone. Wow, I have to admit I am very excited to be here today. I mean, how many of you are even here today? It's like 1,000? It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I have to admit I am a little bit afraid to be standing here today in front of you because I am about to give this huge speech about the future of women when I am just a young woman myself who still has a lot to learn. But the thing is, today, standing on this stage in front of you people, I feel like I could be more than that. I feel like I could represent every woman of the world. Yes, because I could represent that woman that while walking down the streets of her own city alone at night, fears that her body will be sexualized because of the clothes she's wearing. I feel like I could represent each one of the women of the world who were ever raped, assaulted, or sexually abused. I feel like I could represent that pregnant woman who in this exact moment is on a ship leading to hell because for one reason or another she was forced to leave her country and become a migrant. And that baby that she has inside of her, who is a baby, who doesn't even have an identity yet, will be from now on identified as another one of those migrants, as we would say today. I feel like I could represent every woman living in countries like Saudi Arabia. Every woman who is very often called to renounce to one of the most precious things all of us human beings have on earth. Autonomy. Yes, because women living in those countries are forbidden to do so many things. You have no idea. I feel like I could represent every young woman who's ever questioned herself things like, will I ever be financially independent? Will my pay ever be the same as the one of my male counterpart? And now that I think of it, I realize that I may actually be that woman because I have taken a look at the results of some surveys done by Oxfam or by the United Nations about the worldwide gender pay gap. They gave me chills. And now I actually stand here questioning things like, will I ever be financially independent? Will my pay ever be the same as the one of my male counterpart? And as I ask myself these questions, a lot more questions keep popping up in my mind, like, is this battle worth fighting? But then I realized there is just one question to this, just one answer to this question. And it's yes, it is. Why? It's a legitimate question to ask. Let me explain it through words that are not really mine. This is a poem written by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still arise. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. I have realized I will always rise, no matter what. I have realized we will always rise, no matter what. I have realized we have done so many amazing things, even just in 2018, even just last year. Nothing can stop us from keep going on that way. I have realized we have spent the last 8,760 hours of our lives making history, And I have realized we have spent the last 525,600 minutes of our lives writing a new alphabet for the future. But before we get to talk about that alphabet, let me specify something which is very important. When I say we, I'm not just speaking of women, because it's not like only women have ever fought for women's rights, you know. Just think of men like Diderot or Montesquieu, who completely revolutionized the role of women in literature. Or, if you want a more present-day example, think of men like Barack Obama with his national initiative against assaults. You know, that's what the whole thing is about. It's about saying no to selfishness. It's about realizing there is a battle worth fighting, even though it doesn't affect your own private interests. It's about thinking of the rights of your sister, your mother, your grandmother, your daughter, your wife, your girlfriend. It's about realizing there is something that's not going how it should be going, and realizing that we women, we men, queers, FTMs, MTFs, or whatever you identify as, we have the power to change things, and your gender doesn't stop you for fighting for something that is right. Thank you. Thank you. Now that we have clarified that, let's move on to that alphabet of the future I was speaking about just a few minutes ago. But please note, it is not perfect, it is not complete, but I believe it's a great start. In the alphabet of the future we wrote in 2018, D stands for driving right for Saudi Arabian women. Yes, because in case you didn't know, women living in those countries, they weren't even allowed to own a license until last year. And some women in India, they couldn't even ride a bicycle. In the alphabet of the future, we wrote in 2018, E stands for equal rights. This is something we've been working on for a very long time, and we're still working on it. But now I'm taking Italy, my country, as an example, and I'm asking to all of you Italians, do you remember? Do you remember about 1945, when women voted for the very first time? Do you remember about 1950, when the first laws to safeguard working women were introduced? What about 1999, when women were first allowed to become policewomen or to enlist in their own military forces? What about 2011, when we spoke for the first time of quote rosa? Do you remember? Do you remember about 2013 and the laws against femicide? Well, maybe by the end of 2019 we will be able to speak about those laws, about equal payment on workplaces, and who knows if by the end of 2020 we will speak about how we managed to get marital rape declared illegal in every country of the world. Equality is a very long and hard path, but think of it as a climb. We will get to the top of that climb, and once we do, I promise you, the view from the above will be astonishing. In the alphabet of the future, we wrote in 2018, F stands for football. Yes, you heard right, football. Turns out, in 2018, women living in countries like Saudi Arabia, they were actually allowed to watch for the very first time a soccer game live. This is why F also stands for freedom. In the alphabet of the future, we wrote in 2018, H stands for 150. The number of women who came together to testimony against their sexual abuser, La Renaissance. In the alphabet of the future, we wrote in 2018, L stands for leadership. Because women don't lack of leadership. In 2018, a record number of women, they actually run for office. In the alphabet of the future, we wrote in 2018, M stands for memory, because we have to remember what we've built so that we can never destroy it. In the alphabet of the future we wrote in 2018, N and O together, they stand for no, which is a word we made sure everyone completely understood and respected. Because no just means no. In the alphabet of the future, thank you. In the alphabet of the future we wrote in 2018, P stands for presidency, which we ran for in 2018, with Hillary Clinton in the USA, but that's not news. We did that in 1974 with Isabel Perón in Argentina. I mean, just take a look. Just take a look at this alphabet. It is not perfect, it's not complete, but there's a reason behind it, and it's because we are now called to write the alphabet. It is our duty and our responsibility to do so as human beings. And I see some pretty amazing people in the audience, behind the scenes, and even on this stage, who I'm sure will nail it. So please, when you take a look at this alphabet, don't see a glass that is just half empty. Because in the end, there is still water in the glass, right? When I first joined this project, I instinctively thought I would talk about 100 years away, futuristic, brilliant, high-tech, almost an utopian future. But then I realized the nexus of space and time where we are now is the most immediate sector of our universe. And if we are not worrying about that, then we are disempowered. All we are left to do is persist on this astonishing, yet maybe a little scary path.
And so we will persist.
We will persist.
We will persist.
And so we will persist.
And so we will persist.
And so we will persist.
And so.
And so.
And so. And so we will persist.
We will persist.
We will persist. We will persist. And so we will persist.
And so we will persist. Thank you. Thank you.